Welcome to another Cycle Breaker session with Judge Dawson. I am here not only to give you information that you can use, but information that can take your life to the next level. Now, some of you may be finding this video by force. Some of you may have found it because you're interested in just improving your life. But either way, it doesn't matter. Because you're here, we're going to use this time to move together to the next level. So when we talk about being a cycle breaker, what are we talking about? You know, there are 4 elements of being a cycle breaker. The first one is recognize the need for change. And I'm going to continue to repeat that over and over again because at every level of our life, we tend to get comfortable, right? And we say, you know, I don't need to change this or I don't need to change that. But the key is you don't want to just live, you want to grow. So while we are living, you need to continue to grow because when you're not growing, you're dying, right? So the first element of being a cycle breaker is recognize the need for change. The second one, once you've recognized the need to change, now you have to commit to it. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, you don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore. So you recognize that maybe that's not good for my health for whatever reason. Maybe the doctor told you, maybe you have cancer that runs through your family, maybe it could be any other reason. But you've decided that that's what you want to change. So the second step to that is now to commit to breaking that cycle. Commitment. What an interesting word, right? A lot of us have different relationships with the word commitment. You know, some of us have a hard time committing. Some of us have started over and over again. You say you're going to do something, and then you decide to quit, or life happens sometimes, right? But in order to really affect change, you have to commit. You have to stay the course. Today I was talking to someone who happens to be on my team here at work. And they're going through a weight loss project. And it's not just a project, they have committed to the change. And the first thing the person said was that you have to change your mindset. You have to really tap into the reason why you want to change. So remember, that was the first step. Recognizing that there is a sincere need to change, and then you have to make the commitment. The third step, then you have to get the tools. Tools are important because there's no way that you can go through a life transformation without knowing how to do it. You can't go from point A to point Z without getting some type of roadmap on how to get there. So your roadmap is one tool, but then you have to figure out, okay, now that I know where I want to go, how am I going to get there? So what car am I going to drive? How much gas do I need? Are my tires okay? You have to look at every possible tool that is necessary or that can help you get to your goal. So getting those tools are important. And sometimes you'll get tools for free. Sometimes it will cost you. But either way, if breaking that cycle is very important to you, you will do what it takes to make sure that you are putting yourself in the position to have the tools that you need. The fourth element is you have to stay in the game when it gets hard. It's almost like a sports team. You're down 30 points. It's beginning to be the fourth quarter. You got to say, you know what? I'm going to try and make my way back. Because when you decide to break a cycle, there will be challenges. People will challenge you. Life circumstances will challenge you. Heck, you may run out of money trying to get the tools that you need. You know, you may lose your job because all of a sudden you're not the same person. You can't act the same way or conduct yourself in the same manner. There will be costs to pay when you want to change your life. But you got to determine whether or not it's important enough. And the hard part, like I said, is staying in the game, because as soon as you decide that you want to change, that's when people, places, and things are going to present themselves that will be temptations for you to move back to where you were. And it's not that people don't want you to achieve your goals. I say this a million times, and I will continue to say it because it's so important. It's not that people don't want you to complete or reach your goals, but instead they want to be comfortable where they are. And most times people are more comfortable with who you used to be and not who you want to be. Because when you're moving to a new level, either you're going to pull them along with you or you're going to leave them behind. So your friends, they're not necessarily being haters. They just want to be comfortable where they are, which means they want to keep you where you are. So those are the types of things that are going to come against you when you're trying to change. When you say, you know what, I don't want to go back to jail, or I don't want to violate probation, Whatever the case may be, that's when it's going to be a temptation for you to do something that goes against your goals. So remember, being a cycle breaker, first, recognize the need for change. 2, make a commitment, a strong commitment to changing. 3, get whatever tools you need so that you can make your way to that change. And then the 4th one, very important, is staying in the game when it gets hard. Your commitment is so very important. And those are the tools of being a cycle breaker. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Now remember, one of the tools that I'm using in this workshop is the Cycle Breaker book. I wrote this book a little bit ago, basically detailing the transformation of 5 men who had committed crimes, various crimes throughout their lives, but they found themselves in a court, and before a sentencing took place, they were able to be transferred to this Camp Cycle Breaker. The purpose of that was to give them the tools that they needed to go to the next level. Because sometimes we see the system just doesn't work for you, right? You try over and over again to change, but if you don't have the right tools, it won't happen. So now they're at Cycle Breaker Camp, and we're going to go back into the book. So here we're talking about vision as a tool for transformation. The book has Jay. Remember, Jay is the one who's leading these young men on the journey. And he's talking to him, and he's talking to the young man, and he says, does anyone know the difference between vision and sight? The difference between vision and sight. One guy, Owen, said, they're the same thing. Jeff said, no, they're not. They're not the same thing. We went over this earlier. Didn't you listen? That's right. Unfortunately, they're not the same. Let's go deeper than before. Sight is actually the enemy of vision. So let's stop right there. How is it that sight can be the enemy of vision? Well, I'll give you one way. Sight is often what you have right in front of you. And many times what's right in front of you will distract you from the vision that you have in your mind, the vision that you have for your future. So when we talk about sight being an enemy of vision, we're basically stating that oftentimes you can get so caught up in everything that's right in front of you that you don't even invest the time in your vision. And that's a question that we all need to consider. What is your vision for your life? What's your vision for your future, your family? What do you want to do in the next 3 to 4 or maybe 5 years from now? What do you want to do in 10 years? Where do you vision yourself to be? Because right now we have sight all around us. You have coronavirus, you have an economy that's going crazy, you have presidential elections coming and going, you have all these other elections, all these other political climates, and then on top of that, bills have to be paid. Your children have to be taken care of. So right in front of you, your sight, you see a lot that's going on. And I submit to you, that's exactly what we mean when we say that sight can be the enemy of vision, because you may not even have the time to think about your vision. But I'm telling you, it is important to your life, because when you have a vision for your life, you have hope. And you know, the Bible says it, I'm not going to go into the Bible right now, but basically, if you lack vision, you lack hope, because you don't even see what your future can bring. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the vision that you have for your future? And how can sight be an enemy of your vision? Going back to the book. Sight is the ability to see what's in front of you. For example, when you're driving a vehicle, if something obstructs your ability to see, it's officially called something being in your line of sight, because you can see it. Sight encompasses the things that are normally directly in front of your eyesight. Like right now, look to your left, look to your right, you're going to see certain things. And those are the things that are right in your sight. But vision goes beyond that. Vision is where you see yourself being many, many years from now. So one tool for being a cycle breaker is tapping into the power of your vision. So why is vision so important? Vision is important because it is really the guidelines on how you're going to conduct your life. So if you have a vision, let's take it at a basic level. If you have a vision that you don't want to go to jail, that you don't want to end up violating probation, that you don't want to ruin a relationship that you're in, then that vision is going to set the guidelines for how you behave in regard to all those things. So when it comes to how you treat your mate, it's going to be based on the vision that you have for that relationship or that person and you. How you treat your court appearances and your probation is going to be based on your vision that you have for yourself. If you know you don't want to be in violation of probation, and if you know you don't want to end up on the wrong side of a court, then you're going to conduct yourself in that way. And the same thing happens when it goes to your education, your job. Everything is set based on your vision. See, the problem is not many of us set an actual vision for ourselves or our lives, so we end up operating in a way that kind of sways back and forth, up and down. So the key to understanding the tool of using your vision to be a cycle breaker is to establish the vision. Write it out. Write out a vision statement for your life, for your court case, for your relationship, whatever it is that's important to you. You have to establish the vision. That way you can then set the stage for how you're going to conduct yourself as you move forward. And we're going to take this outside. As we continue to explore the concept of vision, I thought it was important to change the environment. Let my tie loose, let my hair down, and just get a different view as we try to establish what vision really is. So I'm outside. And one of the reasons I'm outside is because oftentimes getting in touch with nature will bring you to your closest vision for your future. You're able to see that, life is not as complicated as we make it. It's really simple. I think that's why a lot of people like gardening and dealing with plants and flowers and things like that, because you see that life is really simple when you get out in nature. We all just want to live. We all just want to breathe. But also another good thing about being out in nature is it gives you the motivation and the inspiration of life. So when we talk about setting a vision for your future and trying to determine what you want to do for the rest of your life, I say change your environment for a minute. You need to know that there's more to life than what you see every day. Because remember, we said in the very beginning that sight is an enemy of vision. And one of those reasons, again, is because everything that's in front of you, oftentimes it can be so overwhelming that it could distract you. Whereas if you begin to tap into your vision, you're seeing beyond what's in front of you. You're seeing the possibilities of life, the possibilities of success, and the possibilities for your future. So now I'm going to give you a few quick steps on how we can take this ideal of setting a vision for your future to the next level. The first step is we need to go into deep reflection. And that's sometimes a bad word for people because we don't want to think about the past. We don't want to think about our pain. Sometimes we don't even want to think about our growth, again, because we're so caught up on what's in front of us. But I submit to you that when you reflect, it gives you the guidelines for your vision. So reflect on how you got to the position that you're in right now. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. What steps led there so you can know what to avoid or what to reuse again. And then also you want to figure out what is it about your past that's created the person who you are today. Were there any hurts in the past that you can learn from? Or were there some situations in the past that where you've overcome over and over and over again to the point that you know you can achieve your next goal? So reflection is so important. But then there's another step to reflection, because oftentimes we can't see our own blind spots. So you may have to ask other people, what is it about me that makes me special? Or what is it about me that makes you upset sometimes if it's your mate or someone that you're close to? But you have to really dig deep into who you are right now. What tools do you have? And sometimes you think, well, there's nothing special about me. I'm just a regular person. That's not true. We're all special. You wouldn't be born. You wouldn't be living. You wouldn't be watching this video right now if you weren't destined to be great. We all have greatness in us. So what I say to you is this. Ask the people around you, what is it that you think I'm good at? Or try to analyze what is it that people keep coming to me for, asking me questions about, or asking my help in this area. That's a place where you're special. That's a place where you can take it to the next level when you start to set your vision for your future. So the first step of crafting that great vision is self-reflection. Go deep with yourself. It's time. The next step that I'll leave you with is get involved, get action. The next step that I'll leave you with is to start now. Start moving. Get active with your vision. We could sit and think all day long, make plans, write it down, scratch it out, write it down again. But until you actually get up and start moving in the direction that you want your life to go, you won't know if it's going to work or not because you haven't put it to the test. So you have to put your vision to the test. You have to sit back and determine whether or not the steps that you're now taking are going to get you where you want to go. So instead of being afraid, because we're all afraid, we all have reservations about being rejected or losing or not winning. I submit that the moment you decide to take off, start acting, move in your vision so you can know immediately what's going to work and what's not going to work. So the next step, the important step, is to take action, massive action, dive deep in it to the point where you can't look up and say, oh, I'm going to quit right now, because you're so deep in your vision that you have to keep going. That's the only way to test it. So test your vision, see if it's going to work. And then after you've crafted your vision because you've gone deep with yourself, you started, so now you're in the middle of action. Now you have to sit back and truly evaluate what is and is not working for you. Who's in your corner? Who's not in your corner? Who do you need to add to your life, and who do you need to eliminate so that you can be your best self? It's not enough to set a vision for your future and begin down that pathway and continue to carry the weight, the luggage, the baggage of people, places, and things that don't support where you want to go. So this final step is to analyze your situation. Now that you have your vision moving and you're working and moving in that direction, look back, sit back and say, is this going to work for me? Or what adjustments do I need to make? It's like any type of sports game, right? You're in the middle of the game. You score a point, that's good. The other people score a point, okay. Then they score again. Now you have to sit back and reevaluate. Okay, what do you need to do so that you can continue to win and not lose? Same thing with our vision, same thing with your life, same thing with being a cycle breaker. So we're talking about the tools you need, the tools that you can use in order to break cycles. We will continue with this conversation, but keep in mind, you have to want to do it. You have to really say, I am fed up with living the same life over and over and over again. I mean, think about it. How many years do you want to wake up and do the exact same thing? Or do you want to say, you know what, my next 5 years, my next 10 years, heck, my next 6 months is going to be different. It's going to reflect the life that I want to live, the vision that I have for myself. I know you can do it because we all have that capability, or we wouldn't even be here. So until I see you next time, continue to be cycle breakers, be the best that you can be, and namaste.